Yo, dude, I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh boy, here we go again. What is it this time?
You knew last night I had you, and you came out with that crazy counter finisher. That made no sense.
Hey, look, man, it's all skill, baby. It's all skill. You can't hate the player, hate the game, man. You trash.
Look, that's besides the point. We're gonna run that back. But I was thinking about something though.
All right, let's hear this one. What's going on?
You know, since this year's been nothing but fighting games, I mean, a lot of good ones have come out. I say we talk about kind of going back old school with the fans, you know, letting them know about some of the cool fighting games that we had when we was growing up as kids.
I like that. You're actually onto something here for once.
Hey, I come up with a good idea every now and again. Come on, give me at least some type of credit.
All right. I'll let you have this one. Overall, I think that's a good idea. Let's run with that. But you're still trash at fighting games, man. I mean, you sorry.
Hey, look, we can run that back. I've been asking for a rematch.
And without further ado, sit back, relax. The Game King is speaking, and this is 10 of the most popular fighting games that were back on the PS2. You want some more of this? How about you jump on these sticks? Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Honorable mention.
Now, I wanted to give a shout out to one particular game on this list, even though it didn't crack into the top 10. But it deserved to be on this list regardless because it's 2 games for the price of 1 on this awesome collection. This is the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection that was brought to us by Capcom in the year 2004 for the PS2. And it comprises of 2 household Street Fighter games, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike and Hyper Street Fighter 2 the Anniversary Edition. Now, unfortunately, the original Street Fighter game didn't make the cut to get onto this collection due to the fact that, well, its popularity wasn't too good. But regardless, we got 2 awesome Street Fighter games on this collection. The first main one that everybody remembers is Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, which was still probably to this day one of the best, if not the best Street Fighter that's ever been released on consoles and the arcades. For its overall balance, its colorful cast of characters, and overall just a fun game to play, on top of the fact that we got some of the best Evo moments that we could ever see in a fighting game. This Third Strike version of the port going onto the PS2 is actually the same as the Dreamcast version, with some post-match grading systems, increased hit detection accuracy, and overall its frame system, which made it so much better than it would have been if it was just, well, I guess if it was just in the arcades. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike to this day still holds up very well to fans and common game players alike. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike will remain as a household name and it made such an impact on the video game world, and more than likely going forward, fighting games will look back at this as the DNA as to how to make a very good fighting game. But not only that, Hyper Street Fighter 2 is also something that was remarkable in the Street Fighter world as one of the biggest games throughout the years because of the fact that, well, it had multiple releases, but this particular version has literally all of them into one package. In this version, Hyper Street Fighter 2 the Anniversary Edition gives you the opportunity to not only play the original version of the game, where you only have the 8 characters, but you can also play the Championship Edition, the Hyper Fighting Edition, or otherwise known as Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, which was released in 1993, and the ultimate one, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, that was released in 1994. With all of those different versions, you can play it however you like to, with all the different cool features such as super combos, extra characters, rebalancing the moves, and just looking gorgeous as a whole. The background music made the game that much more intense as through the battle would go through, especially when your health meter would go down even lower. Hyper Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the collection is something that you really want to touch base on if you want to see how far Street Fighter has come over the years. If you haven't picked this game up at one point in time or ever even played the original Street Fighter games as they were in their glory, check this collection out if you can get your hands on one.
Number 10.
Starting at number 10 on this list is a 3D fighting game that was developed by Hudson Soft and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was released for the PS2 back in the year 2001 and it's the 3rd installment in the Bloody Roar series of games. This is Bloody Roar 3, and it was regarded for its distinctive feature where the characters that are on the roster have this ability to use something called beast mode, to where they transform into an animal that is coordinated with their fighting style. Bloody Roar 3's uniqueness on having that type of feature really made some impressive visuals, some awesome fast-paced gameplay, and for the dynamic combat system that it emphasized on using those beast transformations. As any fighting game would, it features various modes such as in story mode, where players are following individual storylines of the characters and going through this whole entire situation of the sign of the beast in the game to figure out exactly why they are able to transform into these characters. There's an arcade mode for quick battles if you want to just jump right in and challenge your friends. There's a versus mode for multiplayer fights, and also a training mode to where you can hone your skills. Bloody Roar 3 is considered probably the best in the series just for its dynamic combat system, its fast-paced action, and being able to just do just about anything you want into this game. It gets really competitive. There's even points in the game where throughout the level, if you break a side of the map, you can knock the opponent right out, whether it ends the game or it deals massive damage. And there's even super moves in here that challenge the game, making it that much more fun, and can turn the tide of battle for you in every single round. Bloody Roar 3 was overly just impressive visuals, made it such a grandstand for fighting games out there, and for its uniqueness due out the fact that, well, fighting games didn't have a whole lot of transformation style types of combat like this. So Bloody Roar 3 still remains as a high velocity game for fans out there who just want to have a nice and fun time to play a fighting game, or for those who want to go into competitive style of gameplay. Check out Bloody Roar 3 if you've never checked out this franchise before, and overall, just have some fun with it.
Number 9.
Now, I'm pretty sure if you know anything about Mortal Kombat, you know how inspirational this game has been over the years, but also how very controversial it has, especially since the early days of the Genesis. Mortal Kombat wasn't just a household name due to the fact of its over-the-top gameplay and unique story, but also for its gruesome finishers called fatalities, and just how bloody and gory this game can really get as the years have gone by. In 2004, Midway Games that developed and published gave us the 6th installment into the Mortal Kombat series called Mortal Kombat Deception. This game has a diverse roster of characters, each with their own unique fighting styles and special moves, including even having weapons, which was new to the Mortal Kombat series of games. There's different modes that you can enjoy in this game, such as the normal arcade mode that Mortal Kombat has always given us throughout the many years. There's new modes called Puzzle Combat, that you can have an actual cool puzzle game with the Mortal Kombat characters. Chess Combat, which uses Mortal Kombat's combat mechanics, which is kind of interesting. And also being able to play online at the time frame, which was very, very new to a lot of different people. There was even a Conquest mode, which was a unique story that you follow with a young warrior and testing his fight against the gods at one point. Mortal Kombat Deception did add some new other features as well, something called like the Harakiri, which allows defeated fighters to perform a self-inflicted fatality, adding a unique twist to the traditional finishing moves that you would normally see, like kicking off the character off the stage to induce a fatality win, or just making a brutality all to yourself. On top of that, the mutality system allowed players to perform fatalities on multiple opponents simultaneously, which was even new to the series as well. Graphically, Deception showcased impressive character models and intricate stages, pushing the boundaries of visual fatalities all together, and giving its fast-paced action and precise timing made a satisfying combat experience. If you're a true fan of the Mortal Kombat series, Mortal Kombat Deception offers so much for players, especially with the fact that the original characters coming back like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Raiden, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, and many others do appear into this game. If you've never played Mortal Kombat Deception, please check out this game. It's a heck of a lot of fun, and it's going to be bloody as they always have been.
Number 8.
Back in the year 2001, there was a fighting game that was released by two of the biggest fighting game companies in the world to bring us an epic crossover of epic proportions. This game garnered the pinnacle of 2D fighting games, and it was considered to showcase how the evolution of fighting games were growing exponentially. The biggest two companies were called SNK and, of course, Capcom, bringing us a game like none other. This game here that's taking the number 8 spot is Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium 2001. It was released the same year as the title showcases itself as. Some of the biggest great modes that are in this game, you have something like arcade mode, survival mode, training mode, and so much more to go off of. And one of the biggest things that they wanted to showcase in this game was something called the groove system, which basically gives you different types of mechanics such as parries, rolls, and custom combos depending on which groove you pick, such as the S groove, the P groove, A groove, C groove, N groove, and the K groove. So depending on how your playstyle is, or whether you're a novice or even a big time expert in competitions, there's so much that you can pick from. Also, the wide cast of characters that are in this game is crazy. You got characters such as Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter, you got characters coming from the King of Fighters series, and you also got characters coming from Samurai Showdown and more. This game's graphics, still rooted in the 2D style with sprites, was still showcasing a level of detail and animation that was so slick and smooth. It was very rare at the time, and it still showcases to this very day as vibrant and as colorful as it can possibly be. I mean, there's nothing like it to this very moment. We still have yet to see a sequel or even at least a remaster or a remake for this game, which we might not ever really see. But if you ever get a chance to catch this game out there in the wild, add it to your collection and play this game, because I'm telling you, this game will showcase how fighting games should be going forward if you've never seen it before. Overall, Capcom vs. SNK 2 is a treasured gem for fighting game enthusiasts and for casual players alike. If you're a big time fighting game fan or just a video game person in general, check out this game and I bet you won't be disappointed. Check out Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium 2001.
Number 7.
Now, it was only fitting for me to put this in the number 7 spot because, well, there are 7 Dragon Balls to collect in order to summon the Great Shenron to have your wishes granted. This game we're talking about here is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that was released for the PS2 back in 2007, developed by Spike and published by Atari for the US version and Namco Bandai for the European and the Japanese version. This game spared no expense on making it such an awesome fighting game to have in your collection, because it not only explores the Dragon Ball Z universe, but it also explores the predecessor, the Dragon Ball series, and also Dragon Ball GT, which was not so great. This game does have a ton of different game modes like Ultimate Battle, Dragon History, where it explores the entire Dragon Ball franchise story, and also a World Tournament mode that you can challenge your friends in to see who's the real champion. This game also has one of the biggest rosters to ever have in a fighting game, with a total of amount of 161 characters, which is insane for a fighting game. You'll see different characters in here, like of course the mainstays Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Gohan, but in different forms from all 3 of their different franchise looks. And also you get a chance to see the movie characters like Bojack and Cooler. In grand old fashion, you will have to go through different game modes in order to unlock all those different cool characters. Like the Dragon History mode, where you'll go through the entire story of the great Dragon Ball Z franchise, like the Majin Buu saga and the Android saga. There's even the Dragon Ball GT and the original series as well to go through. And also they included a what if saga to show exactly what may have happened if a different scenario may have happened. In World Tour, you'll go into the World Martial Arts Tournament, Cell Games, or any other type of fighting tournament and challenge for money to see who is the grand champion. And that money that you actually are able to win, you'll use to unlock different items to make your fighters that much stronger. So your favorite character that could be Kid Goku can be the strongest character in the entire game just based on the different items that you may equip to him. This game was really something cool to have, especially if you had a bunch of friends that just love Dragon Ball Z. And I really did enjoy this game when I was growing up as a kid. This was something, especially being a Dragon Ball Z fan like myself, and a hardcore one at that, this game was really something to have, and it's become even a big mainstay PS2 game to have in your collection, and it's kind of gotten rare over the years, and it's gotten expensive on top of that. This game has so much to offer you in so many different ways, and the voice acting is really cool. The game is just overly fun to play, and I do highly recommend it for anybody out there who is a Dragon Ball Z fan through and through. And if you're a big fighting game fan, enthusiast as a whole, even if you don't know the Dragon Ball Z franchise, this is something to really get your hands on down the line. Check out Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. We were also blessed this year with the announcement of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4, which I also mentioned in a video once before. Now, we don't know the exact name of the actual sequel, but we'll find out as time progresses on. But this is a good mainstay if you want to get a Dragon Ball Z game in your hands.
Number 6.
Now, for you out there who are true to life Tekken fans, I made sure to include at least one Tekken fighting game on this list. And Tekken was going hard back in the day, and this is a fan favorite that I know a lot of people will remember. This game is the 4th installment in the Tekken fighting game series and was released back in the year 2000 for the PS2, developed and published by Namco, and this is called Tekken Tag Tournament. Now, the PS2 version did get a graphics upgrade due to the fact that it was using the PS2 engine compared to its arcade counterpart. And there was even an updated / remastered version of this game called Tekken Tag Tournament HD that was released for the PS3 in the year 2011 called Tekken Hybrid. This game does feature a lot of the modes that were from the original other games that came out before, like Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, where you can have tag battles and go up against different characters and switching those characters around to gain some health back and gain the upper hand. And they did include some new features as well. Mainstay characters like Law, Jin Kazama, Hayachi, Brian, and also Eddie do come into this game, and a couple of new characters as well. And this game does play a little different if you're used to the Capcom Versus games, where if all of your characters usually would die, the game is over and you go into the next round. Well, in Tekken Tag Tournament, it's a little bit different. If one of your characters falls, the round is over and it goes to the next round. So you gotta be real strategic in this game. Now, if you ever played the Tekken game, you pretty much know how crazy these battles can get, especially due to the fact that you can juggle the opponent and run different combos that do massive damage and make the battles just be insanely challenging. This game also features a fun little game mode called Tekken Bowl, where you can actually do a Tekken bowling mini game that have different characters with different attributes and how they bowl. The game did have a graphical interface due to the fact that it was using the PS2, so it did play a little bit differently compared to the arcade counterpart. But overall, the game is really cool, and then on top of that as well, due to the fact that it was on the PS2, we got some even bonus characters that made some crucial differences and using different moves. The game is a mainstay for a lot of people who may remember how crucial Tekken was into the fighting game universe, and overall how Tekken has been very influential. If you ever want to check out a Tekken game back on the PS2, check out Tekken Tag Tournament.
Number 5.
Rocking his way into the number 5 spot on this list is a game that has been re-released so many times from the original game, Guilty Gear XX, with different types of content throughout each and every installment, giving you more enhanced gameplay that you could ever want in a fighting game. Arc System Works pulled out all the stops to make this one when they released it back in the year 2009 for the PS2, and to this very day is considered one of the best in the series. This is Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus for the PS2. And this was actually an updated version of the original game with some major improvements. The Guilty Gear games usually have fast-paced, high-octane gameplay that the series has always been known for, and it's by a diverse roster of characters that you can pick from, and have different special moves and unique fighting styles. In Accent Core Plus, we were also introduced for a couple of different gameplay tweaks such as balancing adjustments, new moves for certain different characters such as Soul Bad Guy, Mila, and many of the other cast that come from all the other games. Also, the overall mechanics gave a different depth that no other of the Guilty Gear series of games have ever given us before. In this game here, you have the normal game modes such as the story mode, the arcade mode where you can just jump right in. The story mode is really cool just for the overall fact of each story has a kind of cutscenes where you can see the characters voice acting. Also, there's a multiplayer mode such as the versus mode and also survival mode where you can continue to fight different waves of enemies. Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus has received positive reviews for over-the-top gameplay, vibrant visuals, and just for its rocking solid soundtrack that really just gets you into the game. The game can be turned into a ton of different ways depending on how you fight, and it can become very technical. If you've never played a Guilty Gear franchise game, you gotta check out this one because this was considered the ultimate in the series. Check out Accent Core Plus for the PS2 if you can find a copy.
Number 4.
Now, if you know anything about the company SNK Playmore, you know that this company is behind some of the greatest fighting game franchises in history. And they are behind one of the best series of games that you could have ever gotten on console or played in the arcades. The game that we're talking about here that's taking the number 4 spot is one of the best in the series alone. It's called the King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match. And this is a re-release of the original game that came back out in 1998 and it was ported to the PS2 in 2008. Now, one of the biggest reasons why this game is so renowned is due to the fact of its balanced roster of characters from previous entries in the series, allowing players to choose from a wide array of different fighters like Joey, Terry Bogard, King, and so many others out there. One of the biggest features of King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match is also because of the removal of storylines, and instead the company wanted to focus on delivering a refined and more competitive fighting experience for casual fans and for competitive fans alike. This version of King of Fighters 98 also includes something called the Ultimate Mode, which gives the players freedom to pick whichever character team they want to put together. So if you like jiu-jitsu fighters or if you like kickboxers or brawlers, you can mix and match however you want and comprise a team based upon your playing style, whether you want to be competitive or you just want to play something with your friends. Overall, the King of Fighters 98 is one of the most highest regarded in the series alone due to the fact of its extensive character selection and being able to just have fun for those who are just getting into fighting games as a whole. King of Fighters is a very technical based fighting game, so you do have to be very strategic. They do offer special moves and giving characters the ability of turning the battle overall to your side of the game. Also, how you can play in teams or you want to just go ahead and do one-on-one battles, which makes it that much more competitive. King of Fighters 98 is something that I think a lot of people can enjoy, and if you want a 2D type of experience and have that old school feel for it, King of Fighters 98 is the game to go with nowadays. And you can also even get the revised version, which is an updated remake called the King of Fighters 98 HD that's available for the PS4. PS2 back in the day for King of Fighters was one of the biggest things that they could have ever come, and they've released so many King of Fighters games on the PS2. But to this very day, 98 holds it as one of the best in the series to date. Check out King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match.
Number 3.
We're finally cracking into the top 3 spots on this list, and taking number 3 right now is a fighting game that I feel that it deserves a lot of love and respect for. And it was a 3D fighting game that was developed by Project Soul and published by Namco. Back in the year 2005, Soul Calibur 3 graced the PlayStation with weapon-based combat and deep storytelling. Some of the biggest things about Soul Calibur as a whole was just for the crazy cast of characters and the different types of fighting styles that each of the characters had due to the fact depending on which weapon they were holding. Now, overall, Soul Calibur doesn't get a lot of love anymore like it should, just due to the fact that, well, weapon-based combat fighting games aren't all the rage. But back in the day, if you heard anything about Soul Calibur, you knew fans were in love with this series of games, and Soul Calibur 3 did not disappoint. It does feature a wide roster of characters that you can pick from, like Mitsurugi, Taki, and Ivy, and so many others out there. Also, it does have a unique story mode, or otherwise a campaign mode, that you can pick individual characters that have a narrative behind it, and overall going through the whole story talking about Soul Edge, which is the primary issue of this entire franchise story. Also, Chronicles of the Sword is a unique strategy mode where players create their own custom character engaging in tactical battles across a different map, which made the game that much more fun. Overall, it had improved combat mechanics into this version of the game. It's stunning 3D visuals that made the game that much more prettier to get involved into. Various different game modes, including like a practice mode, versus mode, and training, and even just a straight up arcade mode as you can jump into. The guest characters were also some of the cool things about this game that made it that much more fun, especially if it was a character that you really loved from a previous series that you may have played before. It received positive reviews back in the day for overly just the battles that they would have. Soul Calibur 3 is considered a very top tier game, and if you ever get a chance to play Soul Calibur, check out this one on the PS2 if you can find yourself a copy of it.
Number 2.
There was something about the early 2000s era of fighting video games out there that was so cool and all the rage. But this one took the world by storm, and this game that I'm about to talk about here that's taking the number 2 spot was an instant cult classic, and it was the follow-up to Def Jam Vendetta. This game showcased how hip-hop culture and video games can merge into one awesome package. Brought to you by the developers of Kai Corporation and EA Games Publishing, this is Def Jam Fight for New York. This game combines the hip-hop culture with intense underground fighting, where you take even the roster of real hip-hop artists that were actually characters in the game, such as Method Man, Redman, Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, Fat Joe, who is an insane boss fight, is just out of this world, it's just stupid, and so many others out there. The game is driven based on the fact of going through the gritty streets of New York City, engaging in brutal street fights, underground tournaments, and story-driven challenges. The game's narrative centers around your creative character, which is taking control of struggling through the fights of New York City's underground scene, going against rival gangs, corrupted crooked cops, and a cast of characters that are just awesome to hear from, especially because, well, it's hip-hop artists doing voice acting. Alongside with the engaging storyline, Def Jam Fight for New York is known for its diverse combat system, which allows players to go through the environment using like people in the crowd to hold the characters down while you can punch them and kick them, picking up different weapons, and even breakable objects as well. You can use your custom character to learn different techniques and different fighting styles, or you can pick the wide cast of characters that are already in here that use like kickboxing, wrestling, boxing entirely, or any other type of fighting techniques that they have in this game. The game's success stems from its unique fusion of music and gaming together, and for so many different hip-hop enthusiasts and fans alike that just love fighting games as a whole. Too bad this game doesn't have a remake or at least a remaster, and hopefully one day we may see it, especially since, well, Ice-T is petitioning for EA Games to do that. But with the fact of copyrights, it might be a little hard to do so. Hopefully we may see at least a sequel, or if not, we might even get at least a remaster, but depends on how EA wants to do it. If you haven't done so, please try to find Def Jam Fight for New York. It is kind of hard to come across, but once you find it, you really do have a gem on your hands once you get into your collection.
Number 1.
Now the last game on this list that's taking number 1 on here is a game that really does not need any introduction at all. On top of that, I've talked about this game once before on this channel during my Dreamcast video. If you haven't checked that out, please make sure you see that video. But this game is literally garnered as one of the greatest fighting games in all of history of fighting games. This is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes. And this game has garnered so much publicity due to the fact that it's been released multiple different times on different consoles or even just different ways, including even a new arcade cabinet made by Arcade 1UP. This game has a wide range of characters you can pick from, such as Spider-Man, Captain America, Mega Man, Jill from Resident Evil, Strider, Tron Bonne, Akuma from Street Fighter, Ryu, Guile, and so many others. Of course, you have to unlock all those different characters, but this game here has really garnered something remarkable in the fighting game community, and is still highly played to this very day in different tournaments such as EVO. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was in some kind of hole due to a lot of different copyright issues, but overall this game has been released in many different platforms, and you, if able to find it in some type of capacity, you got a true-to-life legendary fighting game that will take all the rage in your house if you got friends or family that want to just duke it out with each other. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was one of the staple fighting video games out there for so many years, and to this very day is still one of the highest regarded fighting video games to just look back and see what was done right and what you don't want to do into a fighting game. It's fast-paced combat, colorful art style, music, and just a wide range of characters you can pick from that gives so much love and praise to Capcom and Marvel. Really has made something a remarkable gem that really anybody who is a fighting game enthusiast or is just a true-to-life collector needs to have in their collection. If you have never played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I highly, and I mean I highly recommend getting this game into your hands and just trying it out. Even if you're just a new to fighting game fan, check this one out and you will see why this game is regarded as one of the greatest games to ever exist on any console or in the arcade. Check out Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes. Oh man, he got me good on that last punch. Jeez Louise, but I got him back. While he gives us some ice for both of us, to talk about the PS2, this machine, I have so many fond memories growing up as a kid playing on it, and I had so much fun. And the PS2's library of games was extensively large. I mean, it's one of the biggest in history. And the fighting games on this machine was insane. I mean, growing up as a kid, when you would have like the Dragon Ball games or Tekken, Street Fighter even, you had the biggest and best library of fighting games you could ever get your hands on. And playing on the PS2, you knew you were going to get some quality games. But it's crazy to think that as the evolution of fighting games has just really grown exponentially cool, and that they've just gotten better over time, a lot of companies look at the PS2 games that they made back in the day and just be like, what did we do right to make these to go even bigger and better than we ever do with the newer releases that we got? I mean, with Mortal Kombat 1 that just dropped, Street Fighter 6 has been out for a little while, and we're getting Tekken and so many other great games that are going to be coming out fairly soon. There's no telling where the evolution of fighting games will be going after this. Other than that, thank you guys for stopping by and checking out this video. I appreciate all the love and everything. If you haven't done so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that bell and let you know when I drop a new video, and like and share with your friends and family. Without further ado, the Game King has spoken. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'll at you later. Love God and love yourself always.